Welcome to the Peak Performance and Peak Satisfaction podcast with Master Executive Coach Sherry Gregoff. Sherry helps business people perform better, get rewarded handsomely, and actually enjoy their work. After having her own career turnaround, she now helps other high-powered business professionals experience the same. Join the movement to work differently.
Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here. If work has your stress levels high enough that a doctor has raised concerns, or you're just feeling the toll that it's taking on your body, I want you to know there are real steps you can take to feel better about your work this week. There's real neuroscience behind why work stress affects us the way that it does, and understanding it can meaningfully lighten the load. That's what I'm breaking down for you today. Before we jump in, I want to shout out one of my clients who had a win in this area. Here's what he shared with me. I am finally feeling like I'm enjoying my work again. I'm halfway through your book, and it really helped me see how much I am in control of my life. My decisions to date are what got me here, and I'm empowered to decide what happens next. I am internally motivated for the first time in a long time. I feel gratitude for where I am now, and it's exhilarating to create my future one decision at a time. This client's reaction to my philosophy and simple framework in my book, Choice, had exactly the intended effect. This empowerment made him stronger than the adversity at work that might have caused stress and even anger before. I'm linking my book in the show notes, available on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. This client founded a business and was set to take over his family's conglomerate next. Between the two, the stress had become nearly constant, and he'd been leaning on daily substance habits to unwind that he knew weren't serving him. I've coached founders before, and I've coached people stepping into the leader role in their family businesses. We got to work right away. After a few sessions, he told me it felt like a real transformation. He was no longer carrying the founder's seat alone. He had a trusted partner and sounding board, someone with objectives completely aligned to his own, and total confidentiality, which mattered enormously given how public his every move already was. He told me he was enjoying his work again for the first time in years. He felt more empowered, more impactful. And he noticed something else, too. The pull towards those substance habits started to loosen on its own. He didn't need the escape the same way once the underlying stress had somewhere real to go. That mattered for his health. It mattered for his marriage, too, and for everyone in his life who wanted him present and able to actually connect. I see wins like this across my clients, and I've experienced them in my own career as well. That's why I'm excited to talk about today's topic. Let's jump in and get you on your way to experiencing this also. Maybe you felt something similar, a level of stress or anger connected to work that's bigger than the moment calls for. I see it often, and I've been there myself. I've had clients whose doctors raised concerns about their blood pressure, their anxiety, their cortisol levels, all tied to the state of high alert their work was keeping them in. I've also seen clients lose real weight, sometimes 20 pounds or more, as their stress genuinely came down, once their body wasn't holding on to reserves for a crisis that was mostly happening in their head, and once they no longer had a need for food and substances to cope. Today, I want to dive into the science behind two of the most damaging emotions I see show up around work and give you real tools for both, something you can use starting this week. First, anger, then stress. For each one, we'll look at what's actually happening and what to do about it. So let's start with anger. Yes, anger management for business leaders. I've had clients angry about their company being acquired, angry about a growing workload and jobs at risk, angry about an uncertain future that they didn't choose. I've had clients angry about a merger that reshaped their role without a single conversation, pulling them away from the work they loved and leaving them mostly with the work they merely tolerated. I've had clients angry about entire divisions being offshored, watching colleagues and receiving their own notice that their jobs simply wouldn't exist anymore, and knowing there was an expiration date on their function residing within the country. You may recognize your own version of one of these scenarios. I spent a week with family traveling recently, lots of quality time together, including board games and card games at night once we were done with the beach. I noticed a younger relative lose his temper often during games that were pure luck, or moves other players made with zero intention of hurting his outcome. Any small setback sent him flying off the handle. I pointed out, gently, that no amount of shouting was going to change what had already happened. The game piece wasn't going to respond differently next time because of his frustration. He had a choice in front of him. I encouraged him to take a deep breath and decide what kind of experience he wanted to have. Fury at every twist, or good sportsmanship, letting setbacks roll off his back and still enjoying the game even when it didn't go his way. We were playing not for any big stakes, but just to spend time together and have some laughs. You have the exact same choice in your work and your life. How do you want to play the game? Losing your composure at every turn, or playing the long game instead? Intentionally enjoying the journey and checking your brain when anger comes up. Let's turn back to those 3 real-life scenarios at work and what they each have in common. In each one, there's a feeling of being wronged, a sense that an injustice occurred. We tend to villainize whoever seems closest to the decision: a boss, a company, an entire industry. The anger sits deep, and all your energy points at that one external target, whether in the acquisition, merger, offshoring, or in any typical business event. Here's the dynamic worth understanding. Anger becomes a blanket that we reach for again and again. Counterintuitively, it functions like a security blanket. You might think, Sherry, how can that be? I don't feel secure when I'm angry. I feel at risk. Here's the nuance. When it's entirely their fault, it's not yours. You're right. They're wrong. And that's comforting in a strange way, which is exactly why we keep reaching for it in hard moments. Here's the truth underneath it. Anger is a reminder that you've forgotten your own power in the situation. You're indulging the idea that everything is fully out of your hands, that you're just at the mercy of luck or whoever holds power around you. In reality, you have real power over what happens next. That can feel scary. So instead of getting specific about what you actually want and the next step that moves you there, your brain prefers to stay in the past, replaying how you were wronged. Staying angry hands that person or situation continued control over your peace of mind. Here's what to do instead when you feel that anger rising. Feel the feeling fully. Let the anger move through you and know exactly where it came from. Give that expectation that you had, the one that didn't pan out, a genuine 5-minute funeral. Then shift into your higher level thinking and start actually problem solving from there. Back to the 3 examples with real solutions this time. If you're angry about an acquisition, the added workload that came with it, jobs being at risk, an uncertain future, consider that this might be exactly the moment that accelerates your career and reveals an environment you like even better than the one you're in now. That was my own experience. At the time, it felt like a roll of the dice. Should I stay to see where this transaction lands? or take an external role that was predefined and certain. I decided to stay and see what came of things. Looking back, I know that I was really betting on myself, that I'd navigate the change and land somewhere better. If I'd spent that transition stewing in anger in the office, blaming who acquired us, wishing nothing had changed, I would not have performed at my best, and I might have missed the door that opened to something far better than what I'd had. You can also look externally during this time, gathering more information so you're deciding from strength, not fear. For me, I found another role at a part of the company that wasn't being acquired. It was the safe play, for sure. But something told me this opportunity might be even better. And it was, in fact. None of that creativity and soul-searching is available to you while you're allowing the decision makers you are blaming to take up space rent-free in your head. Like my young nephew, I realized my anger wasn't changing anything in the game, and if I looked at the acquisition as a natural part of the game and turned instead to what move I wanted to make next, I would enjoy the experience far more and play better. Let's move to scenario 2. If you're angry about a merger that reshaped your role without your input, you're spending real energy on people who made a call with imperfect information. Instead, speak up now. Make sure your manager understands what kind of work you actually want. Reshape the role you are in so that you can spend more time doing what you love and delegating or automating what you don't. There's tremendous opportunity with AI in business to do this now more than ever. Don't take the new role at face value, designed by someone far from the business and your skill set and the content of work that you desire. And in the meantime, build relationships inside the company and out that could become your next opportunity. None of these activities are served by carrying a chip on your shoulder about what already happened. Like in a board game, another player made a move that adversely affected you and your plans. You could get angry towards them, but it doesn't help anyone or anything. The faster you can get on with it, take that 5-minute funeral and move forward, the better. What does serve you more than anger here is confidence. Real confidence that your experience and expertise will always let you find work that you enjoy. It just takes committing to go create it. This is the truth. The truth that can feel a little scary because it means radical ownership over your situation. But you don't need that security blanket of anger and blaming others. Let it go. On to scenario 3. If you're angry about a division being offshored with notice given ahead of time, you might be missing the actual gift in that. That advance notice lets you line up your next move while you're still employed and getting paid. Instead of spending all your focus on the decision makers and your missed expectation of carrying on in that role for years to come, you can shift your perspective. What if this is the push out of the nest you actually needed? You can choose to believe that before you have any evidence it's true, for 2 reasons. 1, it's a far better way to spend the time between now and your next role. And number 2, your brain, through what's called your attention filter or reticular activating system, will start scanning for exactly the evidence and opportunities that make it true. Your brain can be a genuine ally here. It just takes practice steering it into this new habit. You miss all this opportunity when instead your brain's attention filter is looking for every reason to be angry towards your company and more evidence to stay in that state of anger. It's not helping you, and it's just a habit. No matter the scenario you are facing at work that has you angry, you might be thinking that anger is somehow innate or natural. If part of you believes your anger is just who you are, unchangeable, I understand that completely. I used to believe the same thing. I thought of it as an innate trait, even something to feel a little proud of, a sign of passion, of caring enough to feel things fully. Maybe a certain flavor of a temper that was passed down to you by someone in your family. Where I grew up in New York, a short fuse was almost a badge of honor. You either blew up at every small thing, losing your keys, getting cut off in traffic, or you had a longer fuse that eventually blew anyway, once enough small things piled up. And then, really watch out, because it was going to be a scene. I remember being able to categorize the people around me into one of those two camps. Either way, it wasn't seen as a flaw. It was just part of being alive, or so I thought, growing up. I know better now. Anger is a habit, an unexamined thought pattern, a childish routine, an urge that goes unchecked because no one ever questioned it. It's an indulgence, and it's genuinely counterproductive, however intoxicating it feels in the moment, and it can absolutely be reprogrammed. It can become 5-minute funerals instead of derailed days, weeks, or entire chapters of your career, or seasons of your life. In this, our mini anger management class for business leaders, I hope you see anger differently now. It's far more in your control than you might have thought. The negative impacts are yours to keep or to outgrow. Anger doesn't restore justice. Anger distracts you from creating your best work and truly enjoying it. Now let's talk about stress, part 2 of this episode. Stress can feel more benign, even mandatory, given the pace of most people's work and lives right now. Who isn't stressed these days? Scrolling, multitasking, scheduled down to 15-minute blocks, endless things competing for your attention. It stresses me out just describing it. Stress often shows up as heightened alertness, especially when you're absorbing everything happening around you like a sponge. Any bad turn, for you or anyone near you, and suddenly you're on high alert. Underneath that state of emergency your body feels like it's in, there are usually 2 beliefs at work, either one on its own or both together. Overestimating how dire the situation actually is, and underestimating your own ability to thrive inside it. On the first one, overestimating how dire the situation actually is, sometimes it's our own reaction to a situation, but also it's borrowing other people's reactions too. It's so easy to absorb other people's stress. Picture yourself at the office. One colleague is venting about their workload. Someone else is dealing with turmoil at home. Office politics abound. Interpersonal friction in a meeting. Almost any ordinary situation can start to feel like a genuine stressor, depending entirely on how you're viewing it. Your inbox, your to-do list, people looking for your time. Let's pause here. Think about someone in your life who takes everything in stride. When you're spinning in a stressful situation and relaying that story to them, maybe they gently point out that reality isn't nearly as bleak as what you're picturing. That kind of perspective can snap you right back, and you suddenly notice how far your own mind had wandered from what was actually true. I have certain friends and family members who do this gracefully. They empathize and stay calm while listening, and then offer the exact view that diffuses tension and turns back to the heart of the matter for moving forward. You'll notice here, it's the lens through which you see the situation that can be coloring it always more stressful than it needs to be. It might be exaggerating the stakes, or the cost, or assuming the worst-case scenario. That person you thought of who seems to take everything in stride, they've simply cleaned their glasses. They are seeing things more neutrally. Before you think it's a personality trait again, I'd offer that it's a habit, one that they've practiced. I'll share more on how to develop this as a skill shortly. But first, let's turn to the second belief. The first was overestimating how dire the situation is. Second is underestimating your ability to thrive in it. This is beyond being about merely surviving something. It's self-doubt about your ability to actually come out ahead. When I interrupt a client's story about their situation being bleak and point them to find how this might be working in their favor, they initially look at me completely stumped. To tap into that prefrontal cortex, highest level thinking, I then ask them to think of adversity they've genuinely endured before and notice how, somehow, they ended up better off on the other side of it, as strange as that might sound in the moment. It's in this moment we might discover the old work trauma or the formative time period that shaped their belief about how well or not they are able to navigate highly stressful situations. I help them take that work trauma and recast it through the perspective of having come out the other side better off. Doing this exercise makes them far more open and less wary of adversity in the current situation or in the future. They access a new store of confidence and resilience that's always been there, but they never recognized. When you feel chronically stressed, it's often because you've lost sight of the whole story, including the part where things work out. There's more happening than what's visible right now. It's not that the world is conspiring against you. It's serving up the range of experiences that shape you into who you're meant to become. The invitation is to show up for all of it, not just the easy stretches of work and life, but to find real value even in the parts that don't feel good yet. This is a skill I coach my clients to master. Anyone can do it. This is very good news. Here's an important takeaway for today's episode. At any moment, there are two things that you could be observing: the facts, the neutral, objectively true details anyone would agree on, and the drama, the meaning that you've layered on top, the part that actually generates the stress or the anger. Here's some examples. Fact: your company laid off employees. Drama: they laid off tenured people, which means loyalty means nothing here, and you're probably next. Facts: your company completed a merger. Drama: both sides are fighting for power, and the whole thing is about to implode around you, making you worse off. Facts: your company was acquired. Drama: no one is taking into account your work preferences or career goals, and it's a slap in the face for what you've contributed to this business to date. Facts: your company is offshoring a specific function to another country. Drama: your dream job was dissolved right in front of your eyes, and it's going to be impossible to recreate it. You can see how the anger and stress, the ones showing up in your blood pressure or on your doctor's notes, are often really just a habit of mistaking the drama for the facts. So we're fact-checking it here. We're calling the drama what it is. When you feel a surge of anger or stress rising, there's no need to panic or treat the feeling as an accurate read on reality. It's simply a sign the drama is playing out convincingly. It's like those little words on the side mirror of your car. Objects in view are usually less dramatic than they appear. Once you can see that clearly, it can even make you laugh a little at your own habit. The more you practice catching it, the faster you'll spot yourself mid-spin next time. This skill serves the people around you too. Anger and stress shows up in our colleagues, our teams, leaders, clients, boards. Once you can spot the drama quickly in yourself, you'll spot it just as fast in others, and you become the person who can gently steer a room back to the facts and back to what's actually productive. I think about my young relative at that game table and how much easier it became once he had language for what was actually happening inside of him. That's really what this comes down to. Not becoming someone who never feels anger or stress, becoming someone who can recognize the drama the moment it shows up and choose the facts instead. If any of this sounds like a habit you'd like real help rewiring, I'd love to talk through it with you directly. A consultation is a relaxed, honest conversation, just the two of us, looking at what's actually been driving your stress or your anger lately, and figuring out together what the next right step looks like for you. Find a time on my calendar at the link in the show notes. Until next time.
Looking for support in applying the principles and strategies in today's episode? Sherry coaches clients one-on-one as their trusted confidant and advisor, helping each client create the work and life they had only dreamed of. To schedule your complimentary career strategy session, go to sherrygregoff.com/apply to book time with her today. It's one simple step that can change everything.